think my craziest ag story would be one of my first ever goat shows I went to. We were exhausted, we've been hardworking, and we decided we needed a nap. We decided the best place to take a nap would be laying in the pens with our goats. Our ag teacher walked up a little bit later and found all three of us asleep, decided to hit the side of the pen, scare all the goats, and it was just so fun because we got scared, but it's also it was a great bonding moment for all of us.
So my sophomore year, we were doing an agri-science project. Jacob Arnell and I were doing a project on germination rates due to burning. And we actually ended up lighting a whole field on fire and burnt our skid steer down while I was in it. So I almost died that day, so I would say that's probably my craziest ag story.
We had a show steer at the local show, and he got away from his handler and was running in the middle of town. It took us about 2 hours to finally catch him, and he ran over 1.5 miles before we finally got him cornered. So that's probably the craziest story. Mostly cattle related.
Oh gosh. Whenever we speak to students pretty early in the semester and we're still trying to lay down a foundation or a groundwork in what agriculture is, that's such a huge challenge at first to get students past this preconceived notion that agriculture is this old school farmer that's wearing overalls and walking behind a horse-drawn plow, something that they've seen from television or movies. Agriculture is science and technology.
I was hauling a young man's show pig to the processing plant here in Edmond, and whenever I left the barn here, I got up on Danforth between North High School and Ted's Mexican food place, and the door came open.
It's a fun place to come and to relax and enjoy. You also get to learn about the different things that we have here. We have plants, you can do the animals, you can weld, you can show. There's a lot more than just coming to a classroom and just learning about the creed or what the basic parts of a plant are.
If you want to get a job in metalworking, of course, you're going to have to take a test. And I would say Mr. Leatherwood's class really prepares you for that. And he teaches you more than just welding, of course. He teaches you how to be a good person, and he'll straighten you out if you're not.
And the pig jumped out in the street, and whenever it did, it went down into the creek right there below Ted's restaurant and went all the way down the creek.
Right now we're talking about plants and soil science, right? But we'll talk about animals, different types of them, different breeds, and how they help us in our everyday life.
And I was chasing the pig through the creek, and the people were up in the restaurant on the outside part of it back when they had a patio.
I always am just out there in the shop building everything and anything. There's not a day out there that I'm just sitting around not doing anything. Leatherwood's always got me busy, either building fire pits for our FFA auction, or right now we're actually building a bench, which is something new for me, and I'm learning a lot of new things building that.
And I was yelling at the pig, and they were watching me, and then the pig ended up on a resident's front porch, and they were afraid to come out.
I do many different things in ag. I think most students do. I take part in showing goats. I do agri-science, which is basically a science fair for ag students. I do a career development contest, which is a quiz contest / identification contest for natural resources. And I also do public speaking.
The biggest barrier, and it happens with recruitment, it happens once the students get here, is to help them understand that they don't have to have a farming or ag background in order to live the rest of their life in a career pathway related to agriculture in some form or another.
And they called animal control, and so the animal control and the police were all around me like I was a criminal trying to get that pig in the middle of the day.
Ag is always going to be a super important organization because the kids that come from ag are the kids that really build all the leadership skills that are needed in your future job. And I would say that most of them are going to be bosses and higher ranking people in the world.
Most of our kids will never be farmers or ranchers. They're never going to be involved in large production. But they are going to have jobs. They're going to be doctors. They're going to be lawyers. They're going to be heat and air technicians. They're going to do something. And being a part of the FFA program builds the skills that are lacking. The ability to put in hard work, do public speaking, all those things that a person needs to be successful, that's what the FFA gives them.
And that was quite an event for both me, the pig, and the police and animal control. But we got him loaded.
It's probably more important now than it was 100 years ago. You have more and more separation of people from production agriculture. There are more and more people that don't understand where it comes from, how it's produced. And we have seen here in the past year or two where we've actually ran into supply issues. 2 years ago, you go to the grocery store and anything you wanted was available. And now we're running into a situation where that's not necessarily true. And the question I always ask my students is, if you were left with the situation where you had to produce some of your own food, how many of you could actually do it?
Agriculture is what feeds the world, and it is it's a primary source of our very existence. And so, to me, it's just important now as it was 100 years ago.
We want students to know there is something for everyone. And we have students that are in our program and are also involved in a lot of other things on campus, whether it be athletics, other student organizations, other different types of clubs that are specific to a career or discipline. And we're flexible. We do not require students to have to audition to be in our program. We don't have some sort of an application process. We want the kind of students that want to be here and want to be involved, but there is no special type of student that we're looking for. If you are a student in Edmond Public Schools, we think that we offer so much variety of choice and opportunities that there's something that they're going to find their place here. And it doesn't matter whether you love working with animals, working with plants, working out, building projects in the Power and Technology Lab. If you love singing, we have an FFA choir. If you love communication, we do not only public speaking and verbal communication, but we have an ag communications class where we do both written, verbal. We have podcasting. We're involved in so many different things, and we continue to try and grow the opportunities that we have. And so we try to meet the needs of students where they are. So there is something for everyone. That's my summary.